Stand by to initiate release sequencer. On my mark. 5.
We're on express elevator to hell. Going down.
2. 1. Mark.
Hello, everyone. My name is Mark, a.k.a. Derringer. Today is Sunday, December 22nd, and you are listening to episode 240 of the Instant Action Podcast, your weekly source for planet-side news and information. As always, I'm brought to you by great listeners like you via the Support the Show tab on instantactionpodcast.com. So I hope all my listeners out there are ready for Christmas. I mean, as of this recording, you have what? 3 days till Christmas. If you're listening to this on Monday, 2 days. So all you last minute procrastinators, but you better get your asses in gear and get out there. What am I buying this year? My wife and I don't exchange gifts to save money, but did buy my daughter a copy of Pokemon Sword this year for the Switch, so she's excited to get that. My stepson is getting the 3 Star Wars movies, episodes 4, 5, and 6. His original VHS copies have bit the dust and are no longer playing in his VCR. Yes, VCR. So it's time to upgrade him to newer disc level type copies of the Star Wars movies, so we got those for him, plus a whole bunch of other odds and ends here for various people that we're gifting to this year. So yeah, as of December 22nd, and I mean, let's be honest, as of like 3 days ago, I was done Christmas shopping, and that's probably the earliest I've ever been finished. There's always one last minute gift that I need to get, but this year, no, it's done. All that's left now is just wrapping gifts, which I'm sure most people save till last minute like I did as well. So enough about my Christmas and what's going on. What's in store for this pre-Christmas show? Well, first, I have the Spark and Snow game update to talk about, which came out on both the PC and the PS4 last week. Then there is a dev letter from Rel, which hints at what's in store for 2020. And then I'm going to revisit Vindicor's Planetside Upgrade Project website, since he had a nice response to Rel's dev letter. So strap in as we hot drop into another episode of the Instant Action Podcast. So first up, like I said, was the December 17th PC and December 18th PS4 game update, affectionately titled Spark and Snow by the developers. First thing we got in this update, and I had a chance to play it last night, I took part in the Bushido Way invasion of Connery last night, which, while the NC and VS made a truce and teamed up against the TR to warp gate us the entire time we were playing over there, I still had a really good time. There were so many people coming at us constantly. We played on Hassan and spent most of the night either fighting NC at Whispering Pass. We were in the southern Hassan warp gate. Either fighting NC at Whispering Pass or fighting VS at Four Fingers or fighting both of them at the SRP Nanite Relay Station. We got double teamed, what can I say, and absolutely annihilated by doing so. But I myself posted over a 3 KD. I had 100 plus kills in a couple hours of gameplay on a brand new character made on TR that night to play it. So not even fully certed, not even fully implanted, and we were running up against Army of the Dim Giant a lot of the time on NC. We were running up against DPSO and the wild cards for most of the night on VS, and there was a smattering of recursion thrown in there as well. It was a good time. Like I said, we got our shit pushed in and got warp gated, but when you're fighting 2 against 1, what do you expect? There were still some really cool point holds going on, and a lot of base drops. And again, I had a great time playing it, even though we got basically curb stomped and double teamed on the entire night. So I did get to play with the stuff that's in the Spark and Snow update. So first off, Nanite System operatives, they got access to the new SR200 sniper rifle. It's in the depot for either 1,000 certs or 699 Daybreak cash. And again, a fully loaded bundle is available for 899 Daybreak cash. The NS operatives also got access to their new vehicle, the Javelin. It's basically a floating flash, but it's longer. If you played PlanetSide Arena, it's basically the Tempest from PlanetSide Arena converted over to PlanetSide 2. It does have a weapon on the front of it called the Nest, which is listed in-game as an intelligent micro-missile launcher that uses proximity-based tracking to home in on nearby enemy units. It costs 1,000 certs to unlock it, so there is a bit of a cost to actually unlocking it, which is minuscule if you've been playing NSO for a long time. But it takes 2 hits to kill infantry, 2 hits to kill infantry, 7 infiltrators, 7 hits to kill max. With the Nest launcher itself. The min-max damage on it is only 80. It's very small. It doesn't do a ton of damage. I mean, for most other weapons, most other vehicle platforms, it takes a lot to kill them. I mean, a Flash only takes 4 hits. A Harasser takes 32. A Sunderer takes 63, which is a ton. An Ant and the Lightning both take 50. Less if you're hitting the lightning from the side or the rear. Prowler, Mag Rider, and Vanguard from the front. Sorry, Prowler and Mag Rider take 63 from the front. Vanguard takes 75 from the front, and again, each are lower on the side and the rear. ESF takes 12. Valkyrie takes 27, but only 54 from the bottom. The Liberator takes 37, and the Galaxy takes 63. So really it takes a lot to actually take things down with this Nest launcher. But they are, smart weapons, so to speak. So they do home in on enemies. So you can certainly use that. It does have a pretty long reload speed, though, of 8 seconds, which would be nice if they could cut that down a little bit. In addition, though, on the Javelin, you have access to 2 other things in the utility slot. You can get the fire suppression system or the gate shield diffuser as well, which kind of stinks. I wish that the Nest and the gate shield diffuser weren't on the same utility, because obviously then you can't use both of them at the same time. I wish the Nest was just a weapon that you could get for it rather than a utility slot, and who knows, that might change in the future. For the defense slots, you get access to the Nanite auto repair system and vehicle stealth. In the performance, you get an agility, a combat, and a speed chassis on the Javelin itself. I didn't get a chance to play with the Javelin yet. Next time I log into an NSO character, though, I'm definitely going to check it out and play with it a little more. I liked how the Tempest worked in PlanetSide Arena, so if it's anything similar to that, I think I'm going to enjoy playing with the Javelin itself. Next for NSOs, they also got the Defector, which is their new infantry class. It's the quote-unquote max unit. It is less agile than a typical or more agile than a typical max, but it also has less resistance to damage. It does come with a grenade launcher primary weapon. It's called the Grenade Imprinter, which damages both infantry and vehicle, and it also has a heat spin up to it as you're throwing the explosives. You'll eventually overheat and not be able to throw anymore until that cools down. That's another one where I think it's just a little too long of a cooldown on it. Maybe adding that to maybe working with Cold Heart on that might be better, but I'm not sure. I don't have Cold Heart yet. It also has access to 2 other utilities. The first is that you can turn it into a walking time bomb, where it'll eventually explode and knock people back. And also it's able to create a bubble shield that protects nearby allies. Just like the Javelin, it's in a prototype state, and we should see changes as things go along. Next in this update, the winter event has returned. Auraximas, as everybody calls it. Snowmen are back. There's a new directive line, and there's new directive rewards. So first, let's talk about the directives you have to do themselves, and those are Golden Snowman Slaughter, which obviously is getting the Golden Snowman. Season's Beatings, which is kill enemies while wearing a holiday hat. Sleigh Ride is roadkill enemies while any non-camo, non-decal Auraximas vehicle cosmetic is equipped, and I know that's one that a lot of people are having trouble with. If you kill the Golden Snowman, don't forget that you do get the Snowman hood ornament. So that's one way to do the Sleigh Ride one if you get that hood ornament. Next is the Auraximas. Oh, also for the Sleigh Ride, people are saying that the bows are working for some people. I have not tried it myself. Next one is the Auraximas Cheer, and that's just reviving fallen allies. And finally, the last one is the Snowman Bodyguard, and that's earning draw fire ribbons with Snowman Soldiers. You can unlock the Snowman Soldiers for 1 cert in the depot. Also, if you play Engineer, though, and you have oh my God, why am I drawing a blank on it? The Hard Light Barrier or the Reserve Hard Light Barrier, that is also counting towards the draw fire ribbons, even though it's not technically a Snowman Soldier. So just keep that in mind as well. If you complete the different tiers, the first tier, the Novice tier, gives you 250 certs and a holiday hat. The second tier, the Adept tier, awards you 500 ISO 4. The Expert tier awards you the Merry Mess camo. And the Master tier awards you the title Abominable and the implant Cold Heart. So there are your tier rewards for the directive itself. Next, the biolabs have all gotten their seasonal makeover, and I said this on last week's show. You can see they've got snow in them now and all kinds of stuff like that. I hope that they might consider keeping that in Esamir since it's the snow continent. Next up, though, is the ASP respec has finally come to live, and people are very happy about that. And the good news is it does cost certs or Daybreak Cash, which is nice. It does cost 5,000 certs, which is a lot. But, I mean, if you're BR100 or BR120 and working through your ASP, you're printing certs like it's nobody's business anyways, so 5,000 certs shouldn't be too difficult. The Daybreak Cash cost is 1,500 Daybreak Cash, so it is a $15 cost to basically buy an ASP reset token or refund token. But the good news is that is in the game itself, and it's a one-time use item, so if you respec and then want to do it again at a later date, you're going to have to spend that either 5,000 certs or 1,500 Daybreak Cash again. Also, the 1,500 Daybreak Cash is part of the membership, so it's less than that if you're an actual member itself. And then finally, there were some other miscellaneous changes, fixes, and additions in this patch. The big ones that I see are that players shouldn't be able to clip beneath the ground while crouching rhythmically anymore. They fixed a typo in Cold Heart, stating it reduced cooling by 30% when it was actually 20%, but they also made it so Cold Heart now passively applies its 20% cooldown speed to heat-based tools as well, like the Engineer's Repair tool at all times, so that makes the Cold Heart a little bit more usable for everybody other than just Vanu for the most part. They moved the NSX, the Mayhem, the Exceptional, and the Bounty directives to a new specialty directive tree. They also fixed or reverted the Exceptional 2 directive back to the expected completion numbers per tier, unlike what they pushed out in the November update. And they fixed an issue that could cause players to spawn beneath the floor of buildings. Did say they're still investigating edge cases, but it should be reduced with the update. Of course, I experienced that bug yesterday when I created a new NSO character and spawned in for the first time, and I was beneath the floor of the building. So note that even though it is quote unquote fixed, it's still happening out there. So again, all that stuff came to the PC on the 17th, and it came to the PS4 on the 18th. Next up this week is the dev letter from Rel titled Onward to 2020. And he wrote, "Hey there, folks, as we move through December and into the new year, now seemed like a good time to provide a glimpse of what the future holds for PlanetSide 2 early next year. With the winter update, we released some goodies for our robotic friends, the Nanite system operatives, to build out the faction's identity and experiment with new playstyles. We'll continue building out this faction and others into the new year, but most of our energy will be directed at a broader picture. Over the past couple of months, the new team has been crafting something exciting for a first quarter 2020 release. In doing so, we've been turning PlanetSide 2's development focus back toward the tenets of coordination, camaraderie, and conquest. For the past 7 years, we've seen many examples of highly motivated outfit leaders who are capable of commanding legions of devoted soldiers into battle. Over time, many of those skillful leaders and their outfit members have left the game. A common point of feedback for those players is that there wasn't a greater goal worth pursuing with their outfit, and that an outfit felt more like a glorified friends list than an integrated part of the core experience. This is something we'd like to correct in 2020. PlanetSide 2 is a quote-unquote home game for many players, and in the first quarter of the new year, we'll be delivering something stellar for those lapsed leaders to come home to, as well as sound a clarion call that our current outfit leaders can rally their troops around. We're continuing to keep the details of this update somewhat secretive until our January announcement, but hopefully what I've shared so far is enough to whet your appetite. See you in 2020, Rel, lead designer." So clearly something big is on the horizon regarding outfits, regarding outfit leaders, and there's going to be some sort of push to bring folks who have left the game back into the game itself by offering something to outfit leaders and outfits overall. Like Rel said, they've been keeping all of this under wraps. I haven't heard anything from them about it prior to this dev letter, so they're definitely keeping stuff under wraps. But I think it's a good direction because it does feel right now that there's not too much of a reason to play with an outfit the majority of the time, and it does feel like a glorified friends list more than anything itself. Sure, there are a few leaders out there who are still, huge within the game itself and bring a lot of players back into the game and do coordinated ops and stuff like that, but it's not what it used to be, where there used to be a lot of different huge outfits out there and a lot of them doing stuff all the time, and that's certainly waned. My only concern is that we are talking about a 7-year-old game at this point, and if any of those people have completely moved on from the game, they're not coming back to PlanetSide 2 regardless of what stuff you put out there for them to play with or to entice them back with. But maybe they've got something big up their sleeve. I mean, we'll have to, me just like you, will have to wait and see what they have coming down the road. But I will say, yes, Rel, you did whet my appetite on what's coming in January. And I mean, January, we're only 2 weeks away from January at this point. So there's going to, hopefully we're talking early January where they release some of this stuff, because I'm definitely curious about what we're going to see. So last this week, as I wrap up this year's pre-Christmas show, is I'm going to direct everybody back to Vindicor's PlanetSide upgrade project, because he had a new post out there. He hasn't had one in a while, or at least one that wasn't brought to my attention, didn't jump out at me. But it's regarding the dev letter that I just read from Rel. And what Vindicor is focusing in on here is that coordination, the camaraderie, and the conquest focus that should be coming in the first quarter of 2020, or even announced in January of 2020. And he put some things together on what he would like to see in each of those three different areas. And he gave a minor, a medium, and a major addition to each of them. So under coordination, he'd like to see, as a minor addition, perhaps being able to see nearby squad members through walls. And his argument for that is we could do that in PlanetSide Arena. So porting that over to PlanetSide 2 shouldn't be too difficult, and it might help squads stick together as well. Also, if you're an outfit leader or a squad leader, it's much easier to see where your folks are spread out in different areas if you're able to see through walls. So that might be an interesting thing to add. For a medium edition, he suggested a context-sensitive leadership menu. So there's that option. And then a major edition, maybe a player-created mission system, which was something that has been talked about in the past. Under the camaraderie section, he added for a minor addition, maybe squad or outfit proximity bonuses, which is something I'm definitely for. Maybe getting additional nanites, getting additional ISO, maybe additional experience, maybe a directive line for squad members as well. Would make it worth being in both a squad and being led by a capable leader in the game. For a medium edition, he suggested outfit uniforms. I love the thought of outfit. I like my identity. I run with the dollar bill camo everywhere I go. But when I played a lot with backs, and obviously one of my characters is still in Black Arrows, I really enjoyed when we had a specific helmet that we all wore, and we could go with whatever camo we wanted, but there was also a suggested camo. I really liked the fact that we all wore the same helmet, and I wish more outfits would get back to doing something like that, and by having an outfit uniform, that's not a bad idea. He also suggested a major addition could be an outfit progression system, which could tie into calling the Bastion fleet carrier or things like that. Who knows? And then the final one under Conquest, he suggested maybe a minor addition of constructed lattice capture points, because the current lattice capture points for construction we have, people don't really use. So maybe adding more of those into the game to kind of bring construction back into the game itself, or bigger opportunity in the game itself. A medium edition, he suggested the LLU payload style capture. For those that didn't play the original PlanetSide, there was a lattice link unit that would spawn at some bases, and in order to capture the base, one person would have to carry the LLU to the previous base and load it into the previous base in order to capture the next base. I wouldn't mind seeing something like that into the game itself, as long as it's understood that certain bases have that, because that could be confusing for a new player. And then finally, his major addition suggestion is an intercontinental lattice, and I think that that's huge and something that's been lacking from the game itself. There's no reason that PlanetSide 2 shouldn't follow in the steps of the original PlanetSide with an intercontinental lattice. There should be links from one warp gate to another warp gate and allow people to move through different continent, from one continent to the next continent, to keep having fights going. I've always been for intercontinental lattice, and have always been disappointed that that is not something that's been active in PlanetSide 2. So there's all his suggestions. I thought they were worth reading, and I always enjoy perusing Vindicor stuff, because the majority of it, 99.9% of it, is well thought out and would work well in PlanetSide 2, but not always implemented like I want them to implement it. So I'm always happy to give Vindicor a shout out. But with that, let's wrap up this pre-Christmas show, because I've got some wrapping to do, like I said at the beginning, and move on to housekeeping this week.
Housekeeping. Housekeeping.
Come back later, please.
Housekeeping.
Not now.
Housekeeping?
Go away.
I come in anyway?
So for housekeeping, no emails, no voicemails. That's fine. Speaking of voicemails, I have not gotten a voicemail in a long time, so I am going to let my voicemail phone number lapse. It is about to be up in a day or two, and I'm not going to renew that because I don't think it's necessary. Like I said, it's been a long time since I've gotten a voicemail, and really it's just collecting spam phone calls in it right now, so I think I'm going to let that lapse. But that is going to be it for this week's show. So how can you get in touch with me or the show itself? Your first stop should always be my website, www.instantactionpodcast.com. You can email me at instantactionshow@gmail.com. And please follow the show on Twitter at instactpodcast. But in closing, if you've enjoyed the show, please leave me a review on your podcast listening avenue of choice, whether it's iTunes, Stitcher, Google Play, or anywhere else. Also, feel free to tell your friends and outfit mates about the show. But finally, thanks for listening, and keep spamming that join combat, formerly known as Instant Action button. Derringer out.
Well, on the first day of Christmas, buddy looked at me. A bag of shrooms at some LSD. We snuck into the park to steal some Christmas trees, but the cops pulled up and that's nice and lit. We're all fucked up with Smirnoff eggnog. We crunch your candy canes and rev up all the chainsaws. You give us 30 and we'll tie it up and know what your cost. We'll take it 30 and spend it on pot. We're not too bad, we flunk all of our classes. Getting fights, getting drunk, and we're bad kids. The dad calls bastard, mom's always plastered. We're the closest to suburban gangsters. A cold air's what we breathe. Our beds have no sleeves. It's hard to haul trees. It's 0 degrees. We smell like evergreen. All I want for Christmas is my 2 front teeth and some mistletoe all up in his piece. Maybe a girl that's free of disease. And while I'm thinking, throw in a couple of G's, yeah. I want my snowmobile treads to be fixed. I want a hoe who doesn't mind my snowsuit doesn't fit. I'm just a hayseed, selling trees and grape trees. Know your daddy hates me, it's driving you crazy. Even though my nose is running, get the honeys cause of money. But I never get licked, I find my way in too long on these eyes. I don't drip, just dip, listen to country with my piss. I rock my name because I think it's funny. I'm so into this deciduous lifestyle. You see a dead tree and I see a cash cow. I never bargain and I never back down. Put your backseat down and I'll take you out to Tree Town. Your daughter's giving me the eye, so I am giving her a ride. I'll put up the tree myself and put up all the lights, as long as I get all up in her inside. All I want for Christmas is my 2 front teeth and some mistletoe all up in his piece. Maybe a girl that's free of disease. And while I'm thinking, throw in a couple of G's, yeah. I want my snowmobile treads to be fixed. I want a hoe who doesn't mind my snowsuit doesn't fit. I'm just a hayseed, selling trees and grape trees. Know your daddy hates me, it's driving you